third time in 5 seasons, Togliatti is the venue for the FIM Ice Speedway World Team Championship. It's the 2016 edition of Ice Speedway's World Cup, where individual ambitions are set aside for national pride. Five of the 2016 teams have made it onto the podium in the last 2 stagings in Togliatti. The target, as ever, is to beat Russia. The host nation has won 33 championships since the competition's inauguration in 1979, 13 of them consecutively ahead of the 2016 event. 6 teams hope to end their winning run. Switzerland is the only team in the 2016 competition never to have made it onto the podium. The championship's also Rans beat only 2 opposing riders last year. Finland are 6th in the all-time medals table, and that's their likely position this season. They're without Mats Jarf and Tommy Tani, who helped them to their most recent success, 3rd place in 2014. It's been a long wait since 1983 for Germany, who are looking for their first podium finish since 2009, after a disappointing 2015 on home ice.
Maybe I think the first 2 places, for my opinion, it's clear, but for 3rd place it maybe can be a big battle between Germany, Sweden and Czech Republic. And then of course we need good day, all must be good, and then hopefully we are strong enough after long years. We are not good, as we can fight again for the medal in the team race. That's important for racing too in Germany, I think.
Sweden were the last winners from outside Russia back in 2002. Their young trio missed out on the podium altogether in 2015, but hope their rider development plan will help them to success this year.
The target is to beat Germans and the Czech Republic. Last year I didn't have so good chance to these guys, but we have racing them in Sweden, and we know we can drive better. So.
The Czech Republic have taken 3rd place in 3 of the last 5 championships through their pairing of Antonin and Jan Klotowski.
This track is very nice and very good in Russia, and the 2012 is the medal from Czech team, and now is same, it's a very good result from the Czech team.
Austria have come to within 2 points of Russia twice within the last 3 years, and are further strengthened with the inclusion of Manfred Sifter this season.
Yes, last year we had a good team final. It was only 2 points between Russia and Austria. It was a big fight last year. So this weekend will be good conditions. Ice is good. Stadium is very nice. And we try all the best to make the podium again.
Russia have won 33 gold medals and been beaten just 4 times in the history of the competition. A seemingly unbeatable trio lines up for 2016. Dmitry Koltakov returns to the team, which makes us a little stronger than last year. So we're ready to fight, and I think we'll see that on the ice. Stefan Pletschaka returns for Germany at the expense of the out-of-form Hans Weber. An all-new partnership for Switzerland in 2016. The emergence of Manfred Sifter adds youth and strengthens Austria's challenge. Sweden are one of 2 teams unchanged for the 2016 contest. Finland may well rely too heavily on Antti Akko. Dmitry Koltakov returns to Russia's team alongside Krasnikov and Komitsevich, and the Czech Republic will hope for a 2nd consecutive podium with their unchanged trio. The 15,000 capacity Anatoly Stepanov Stadium played host to international fans of the 7 participant teams, meeting each other nation twice during the weekend, and the cumulative points total set to decide the finishing positions. With a new but inexperienced team at world level, Switzerland were largely expected to struggle against the top 6 teams in the world, and Heat 1 provided a measurement of their difficulties as their captain Martin Glaner came in a full 7 seconds behind race winner Günther Bauer. Stefan Pletschakar returned to the German team after missing out on the 2015 championship and took second behind his teammate for a comfortable opening heat 5-1. Two of the podium favourites went head-to-head in Heat 2 as Austria took on Sweden. And the race immediately provided some of the best action of the day. Austrian captain Franz Zorn made the start and experienced teammate Harald Simon took a perfect first-turn trajectory to move past both Niklas Svensson and Ove Ledstrom. Ledstrom had been the European standout of the opening World Championship round in Krasnogorsk and quickly put himself back into the race, sweeping down to the inside as Franz Zorn reached too deep on lap 3 and dropped back. Zorn was then held back by a narrow angle from Ledstrom on the top turn. Svensson swept around and into third, putting Sweden into a shared heat situation and clattering into Austria's lead rider in the process. Svensson slipped quickly to the back with an error into turn 1, but Ledstrom almost made up for it with an outside run on the slowing Harald Simon before ceding the position in the run down to the line. Neither country took the result they would have been hoping for, with Russia next out. Finland were comfortably and predictably outpaced by Russia as the favourites moved joint top with Germany and opened a 1-point advantage over Austria. Nikolai Krasnikov and Dmitry Koltakov paired up for the first time since 2013 for a maximum heat advantage in Russia's first appearance of the weekend. Krasnikov coming through for victory in the latter stages and finishing a full second faster than Heat 2's Austrian winner, despite finishing the race on 1 win. Germany looked set for a second consecutive 5-1 around the first 2 turns of Heat 4, with Günther Bauer taking the whole shot and Max Niedermayer putting in a promising start to his first ride of the day. The Czech Republic duo put in a beautiful from-the-back effort to take a maximum heat advantage in their first appearance. With Max Niedermayer favouring the outside, he made himself vulnerable to attack from the Klotowski brothers behind, and both came past on lap 2. The elder of the brothers then made a perfect third-to-first pass, pushed Günther Bauer aside and created room for Jan to come through on the final turn, restricting Germany to 6 points after 2 rides. Austria have taken 10 medals in the World Team Championship since Franz Zorn emerged at international level, but he had a subdued day, and his comfortable Heat 5 success over Switzerland was his best contribution of the meeting. Martin Glaner and Beat Dobler found themselves off the pace and moved on to just 2 points from 2 rides. Picking up more than a single point tally in any given race would clearly be a challenge. Austria moved above Germany and on to 9 after their second appearance. Swedish team boss Ola Westlund brought in Daniel Henderson to replace Niklas Svensson after his captain's first ride last place, and the team's oldest representative delivered handsomely in a 5-1 return over Finland. Antti Akko provided the race's entertainment with a strong outside challenge, moving ahead of Henderson for second on lap 1, but eventually losing his momentum and slipping back. Ove Ledstrom moved on to 5 points from his opening outings with a tapes-to-flag success, while Sweden moved above Germany into second with Henderson's points factored in to a total of 7. Dmitry Komatsevich made his first appearance of the day as Russia dispatched the Czech Republic to move into a clear lead for the first time. The first win of the event for Dmitry Koltakov left him unbeaten after 2 outings, and after the opening round of heat races, Russia had already opened a 1-point lead without taking on any of the favourites. With Austria and Sweden taking points from one another in Heat 2, Russia seized the advantage. Finland and Switzerland were yet to register points against their opponents. All but one member of the declared competition lineup had taken a ride in the opening 7 heats, with all but one heat in the opening round throwing up a 5-1 result. The gap between the top 5 teams and the remainder, therefore, was immediately apparent. Franz Zorn took no further part in the day's competition for Austria as he struggled to resolve mechanical problems, and their selection process favoured rising star Manfred Siefter in the remaining heats. After an opening race victory, a second proved harder to come by as he slipped back following an impressive start. Austria had put themselves in a perfect position on lap 1 with Harald Simon coming through from the back following a cutback from the outside start position. Rather than hanging back after Siefter, Simon moved alongside his teammate in the hope of blocking out Germany's Max Niedermayer, but the team riding process slowed down both Austrians and brought Niedermayer back into the race. Simon left his teammate at the end of lap 3. Siefter looked the wrong way, left the outside run open and found himself swallowed up on the mid-track line as he dropped to 3rd. A good result for Germany despite resting Günther Bauer in Heat 8 with Max Niedermayer's 2 points, moving them on to 8 and Austria moving to the top of the standings on 13. Austria's dropped point presented an opportunity to Sweden to close the deficit in Heat 9. Capitalising on problems for Switzerland, the Swedes took a comfortable 5-point score through Niklas Svensson and Daniel Henderson. Beat Dobler failed to make it to the start, pulling up before the tapes went up and becoming a second Swiss retiree of the afternoon. Resting Ove Ledstrom in what was expected to be a straightforward contest, Sweden led clear on a 5-1. All until Martin Glana crashed out on lap 2, bringing a premature halt to proceedings. The Swedes brought home the 5-0 in the restaging, relaxing into the slowest time of the day so far as they moved within a point of Austria on 12th. Tommy Norrala took a second appearance in Heat 10 after his single-point score in his previous ride, but Finland still failed to take points from their opposition. This was nonetheless Finland's most competitive effort in the early stages. Antti Akko putting in another valiant effort after taking the whole shot, and Tommy Norrala competing for third with Jan Klatowski. Akko was pushed back to second by Antonin Klatowski on lap 2. Norrala then came through a lap later, and as Akko maintained his outside run, he gradually slipped towards the back. Zlotowski Sr. put in a mid-straight block on Tomi Norrala to kill the Finn's momentum, leave him wider than he wanted to be on turn 2, and give his brother an opportunity to scythe past coming off the turn to give the Czech Republic a 1-2 result. The 5-point score left the top 4 teams separated by only 3 points, with Germany, Finland and Switzerland slipping away in the early stages. Germany slipped further out of contention on the receiving end of a second 5-1 of the meeting, with Russia giving the home fans something to cheer by restoring their 2-point lead in Heat 11. Max Niedermayer fell on the first 2 turns, leaving Stefan Pletschnacker Germany's only challenger. Krasnikov and Kovacevic comfortably blew the lone opposition away to record a 3rd maximum of the meeting. After scoring just 1 point from 3 rides and first to last appearances in Heat 6 and 10, Antiakko took no further part in proceedings for Finland. Instead, they looked to Tomi Norrala, who took victory in Heat 12 as a replacement. The uninspiring race between the bottom 2 teams in the standings moved Finland to within a point of Germany, ahead of their direct confrontation in Heat 15. Races between Austria and Russia have decided 4 of the last 5 team championships, so Heat 13 was eagerly awaited and as hotly contested as expected. Russia were challenged for the first time despite making the faster starts. Harold Simon held the inside and second position through to lap 3. Kovacevic realised the only way past was an inside move, but as he darted to the curb he collected Simon's trailing leg and the Austrian lost balance, heading off to the bales with his arms raised in protest. There was more controversy in the restaging as Harold Simon was disqualified for exceeding track limits, the referee feeling that the Austrian had crossed the blue line, delimiting the inside of the circuit. So what could have been a shared heat and maintained the 2-point gap between the competition's 2-star teams instead became an unusual, narrow 3-2 advantage to Finland. With Russia dropping 2 points in Heat 13 and Austria dropping 3, Sweden had an opportunity to move within a point of the leaders in the last race of round 2. Niklas Svensson missed the chance to move into a 5-1 position with the fast-starting Ove Ledstrom in the early stages, hitting a rut on turn 2 that sent him to the back. The remainder of the race was characterised by a battle over third as Svensson pursued and repassed Jan Zlotowski on lap 2. Zlotowski resumed his inside run in a hope of finding a way back past, but Svensson held his line well for a valuable point and a 4-2 heat advantage to Sweden. Austria slipped to 3rd and the Czech Republic moved to within 2 points of the podium positions at the end of round 2. With Austria and Russia taking points from one another, Sweden closed in and 3 points separated the top 3 nations at the end of round 2. The Czech Republic were left to regroup after successive defeats to Russia and Sweden with an easier draw to come. For Austria, Harold Simon was set to return to the track after his Heat 13 spill and subsequent disqualification. And after scoring just 2 points from his opening 2 rides, Stefan Pletschnacker was substituted in favour of Heat 1 winner Günther Bauer for Germany in Heat 15, where Germany's battle with Finland over 5th in the meeting would liven up the country's first direct contest. Günther Bauer and Max Niedermayer made the start and seemed destined for a comfortable 5-1 until the veteran lost speed in the latter stages and Tomi Norrala got back into the race for Finland. Bauer picked an outside line from the front, Max Niedermayer running even further to avoid the inconsistent inside route. Bauer bobbled coming into the final lap, lost momentum in the path of his teammate and Norrala pulled through for second. Niedermayer failed with an attempted outside run on the final 2 turns to regain the lost position. There were no fairy tale stories for Beat Dobler as he provided Russia's lone opposition in Heat 16 from the outside gate. Cheered emphatically by the local crowd, Nikolai Krasnikov maintained his unbeaten run alongside Dmitry Koltakov. Russia opened a 7-point lead, their biggest margin of the competition. Austria needed 5-1 returns against the Czech Republic and Finland in their remaining outings to have a hope of leading at the end of the day, but were restricted following a dramatic Heat 17. Recovering well from his Heat 13 disqualification, Harold Simon was the early leader, but his favoured inside line had become rough and the fractured ice spat him off the bike from first position. Teammate Manfred Sifter held on from a strong attack provided by Jan Klusovski, who was eventually overhauled by Antonin in a shared race result. 2 more drop points for Austria, despite an impressive second race victory of the afternoon from Sifter. Sweden took advantage of a ride in hand to move back into second above Austria following Heat 18. Günther Bauer provided the main opposition for Germany, coming through into second on the opening lap ahead of Niklas Svensson. But Svensson worked the outside beautifully to gain back lost ground and then feinted wide before diving past Bauer on the inside. A third maximum return of the day for Sweden moved them to within 2 points of Russia, with a meeting between the two sides that would decide the Day 1 leaders still to come. Switzerland completed a 6-ride run without defeating an opponent as Beat Dobler came in at the back in Heat 19. Antonin and Jan Klusovski took a 5-1 in the slowest time of the day, moving 3 points above Austria into third. Harold Simon and Manfred Sifter were looking for a minimum of a 4-2 return to move back into a provisional podium position and gated on a comfortable 5-1. Tommy Norrala again kept the pace well and looked set to challenge for another overtake when he went down and was collected spectacularly by his following teammate Mikko Jetsonen. Austria's 5-1 in the restaging was straightforward, and they moved level with Russia, with 1 race remaining. Harold Simon ended the day with a personal tally of 8, Manfred Sifter as Austria's top scorer on 12. With 2 of the top 3 teams featuring in the final race of the day, Heat 21 provided the climax and decided the end-of-day leader. Dmitry Kometsevich had managed just 4 points from 3 rides, but was included alongside Nikolai Krasnikov as the Russians rested unbeaten Dmitry Koltakov. A rare mistake from the 8-times world champion brought the competition alive as he held back teammate Kometsevich and the pair ran level into the final lap with Ove Ledstrom in pursuit. Kometsevich struggled to let Krasnikov past on the unfavoured outside line. Ledstrom dived for the inside to split the pairing. And on a sensational final turn, the Swede moved across the front of Krasnikov for a career-best giant-killing ride and 2 more valuable points for Sweden. A first defeat of Krasnikov and a 4-2 heat advantage for the Russians meant the top 3 teams of the day would go into the second block of 21 heats, separated by just 4 points.
Yeah, you cannot say so much after this day. It's tomorrow. After tomorrow, we know how it goes. But me and Niklas had a really good speed, and we're having fun in the team. So no, it's we're hoping for good luck tomorrow also.
Yeah, the level was high, very high. You see, the Russians lost points also. We lost points. The Sweden lost points, but we will see what happened tomorrow. It's quite good race, hard ice. The conditions were very hard, so we will see what is tomorrow.
Today was good, but I lost some points in the race against Austria.
У меня, видать, за опасную езду исключили с сборной Австрии.
The Russian team will try to give its best again tomorrow.
Потеряли очки небольшие, но мы лидируем. Завтра будем стараться удержать позицию.
With current and former world champions Dmitry Koltakov and Nikolai Krasnikov reunited in the Russian team for the first time since 2013, the 2016 trio looks the strongest lineup seen in recent seasons. I'm very pleased to return to the Russian team. We want to finish first again in this championship because everyone in Russia and the rest of the world looks up to this team. I have a lot of pride in the team because we're the strongest in the world. For a lot of riders, it's more important to challenge for medals in the team championship than in the individual competition. So we're lucky to have the top riders in the individual championship as well. Nikolai is in great shape as ever and won the Russian championship. Dmitry is very strong as well and proved it at the recent Grand Prix in Krasnogorsk. The whole team is ready to participate at full strength. Four teams remained in realistic contention and separated by 4 points coming into day 2. Leaders Russia had shown some signs of vulnerability, dropping 3 points during the course of the opening day. But with the Czech Republic, Sweden and Austria taking points from one another, no outright challenger to the reigning champions had emerged. The competition format sends the teams out in reverse order to the Day 1 programme, meaning that Russia and Sweden would resume their Day 1 rivalry first time out on Day 2. In a change to the programme, Daniel Henderson came in as a substitute for Niklas Svensson in Heat 22. Henderson one of only 2 unbeaten riders, as he was only tracked against weak-link competitors Finland and Switzerland on Day 1. 2 unbeaten riders went head-to-head in Heat 22, but it was Russia who came out on top for a second time of the weekend against Sweden. With the track well restored, overtaking would be difficult in the opening heats, and there was no way through for Ove Ledstrom once Koltakov and Komet Savic had hit the front. Having conceded a point to the Swedes in Heat 21, the Russian duo took a 5-1 in Heat 22 and gave themselves an 8-point lead. Austria had a race in hand over the top 2 in the standings after their opening race battle, and they quickly moved above Sweden thanks to an easier draw and a comfortable maximum heat advantage over Finland. Antiako returned to the ice after withdrawing from his final 2 rides on Day 1, but he failed to make an impact beyond the opening lap once he had been overhauled by Manfred Siefter. With his mechanical issues resolved overnight, Franz Zorn returned to the track with the first race victory of the weekend. One-man Switzerland were comfortably dispatched by the Czech Republic as the Klatovsky brothers moved back into a provisional podium position. Antonin Klotowski moved into the competition's top individual scoring position with a 4th race victory of the weekend. The pair backing off the pace to come home comfortably and 8 seconds slower than the Heat 22 winning time. As he had been on day one, Günther Bauer was involved in another entertaining race with Sweden in Heat 25. Ove Ledstrom took the whole shot but ran wide, enabling the German veteran to turn back onto the racing line and take the lead. But Ledstrom repaid the compliment on lap 3 to take the checkered flag, and Bauer was disqualified anyway for exceeding track limits. A fortunate result for Sweden, who needed the 5 points to move back above Austria and into podium contention. Franz Zorn made it 2 unbeaten rides in succession to treble his day 1 points total on his return from mechanical problems. The main action was the battle for second, with Harold Simon making his way past Antonin Klotowski on his favoured inside line. Jan Klotowski then picked off his brother to move into third and a position to challenge on the final lap. Prizing his way through on the inside, he appeared to cross the inside blue line twice during the race and then slammed the side of Harold Simon on the final turn to crash his way through to the finish. The unfortunate Simon ended the race on the deck, but the heat was awarded in favour of Austria after the disqualification of Jan Klotowski. The start line was as close to the Russians as Switzerland would get in Heat 27. Nikolai Krasnikov and Dmitry Kometsevich avoided any dramas to take a comfortable 5-point score and restore their 4-point advantage over Austria. Separated by just 3 points in their race for 5th, Finland and Germany went head-to-head in Heat 28. Germany's strongest partnership was made to work for an advantage. Antti Akko making a customary fast start from the inside gate before being overhauled by Günther Bauer at the end of lap 1. This time there were no mistakes from the German captain, who was joined up front on lap 3 by teammate Max Niedermayer. Akko's continued pursuit of the outside line had seen him slip from first to third and to a 5-1 reverse at the hands of Germany, who moved 7 points clear in the battle for the minor placings. After 4 rounds of completed races, the gap between the top 4 teams had increased from 6 to 10 as the top nations continue to meet each other and spread out. Austria were now Russia's only realistic competition. Meanwhile, Sweden were under pressure from the Czech Republic in third and set to meet next time out in Heat 29. The Klotowski brothers needed a result in direct competition with the Swedes to boost their chances of a second consecutive podium finish. And a forceful first corner from Antonin Klotowski looked set to give them a creditable share of the spoils. with Niklas Svensson pushed out to the back. But Svensson worked his way diligently back into the race, taking advantage of a mistake from Antonin Klotowski as the Czech hit a rut on lap 2, and then moving to the outside to spring a surprise on Jan Klosowski and make it an impressive Sweden 5-1. The result moved Sweden 1 point ahead of Austria and into second, while the Czech Republic dropped further back from their top 3 aspirations. Austria now had a ride in hand over Sweden from a point down, but would need to extract vital points from Russia to take advantage of it. Austria tracked their most experienced partnership of Franz Zorn and Harald Simon, but Simon was never in contention from the outside gate. Zorn, meanwhile, had utilised gate 2 and put himself between the Russians in the early stages. Moving wide coming off the bends, he attempted to block Nikolai Krasnikov, but the Russian simply went deeper, building his momentum and eventually making the pass on lap 2. A third consecutive 5-1 for Russia, with maximum successes over their 2 main rivals, and it would now take a miracle for the reigning title holders to be defeated from 8 points up. Switzerland's best chance of finally beating an opponent was missed in Heat 31, as Pete Dobler trailed in behind Tommi Norrala and Mikko Jetsonen. As he had on day 1, Antti Akko took no further part in the meeting after his opening rides. But Finland's 5-point score in Heat 31 nonetheless brought them to within 3 points of Germany. And the Germans were predictably unable to capitalise on their ride in hand against Russia in Heat 32. A 5-1 for Dmitry Kotikov and Dmitry Kometsevich left Sweden and Austria needing 5 points from each of their remaining races to remain in mathematical contention, and they could only dream of a total collapse for Russia in their remaining heats against the Czech Republic and Minnows Finland. With the gold medal 3 points away from being settled, attentions turned to the race for second. A maximum return for the Czech Republic over Finland in Heat 33 left 3 teams separated by just 1 point in pursuit of the podium places. Mikko Jetsonen had made the initial jump for the Finns, but was overhauled on lap 1 and restricted to a single point score. Sweden's ride in hand over the Czech Republic was to be taken against Switzerland, where they needed 5 points to put pressure on Austria ahead of their Heat 35 battle with Germany. Ledstrom and Svensson combined for a faultless 5-1, their third of the day and Sweden's 6th of the weekend. Günther Bauer continued to offer the only resistance for Germany as he split the Austrian duo on lap 1 in heat 35. Franz Zorn made a textbook first turn to pull away, but behind him Manfred Siefter had to recover from an error after hitting a rut on bend 2. He swept quickly back to the inside to pass Günther Bauer for second, and Austria looked set for a 5-1. But Max Niedermayer unwittingly gave Bauer a second chance against the Austrians as he collected the bales on lap 3 and brought a halt to the race. In the restaging, Zorn and Siefter made an even better job of the first 2 turns to lead an Austria 1-2 over the sole remaining German. But a lap 3 error from Siefter put the result in doubt as Austria's inexperienced representative bounced across the front of his teammate and Günther Bauer cut past the pair. Siefter chased hard to repair the damage and seized back the lead when Bauer fell victim to the now inconsistent track surface on lap 4. Franz Zorn also took the gift-wrapped invitation as he made a block pass into turn 3 and restored Austria's 5-1 advantage. A crucial return for Austria, who moved back level with Sweden for second. The race between Austria and Sweden looked set to run until their Heat 41 meeting, while the Czech Republic would be waiting for an error from either team from 4th. Sweden's draw gave them a race against Finland before their medal-deciding clash, while Austria would expect to bank points against Switzerland before their race with the Scandinavian nation. Russia were just 3 points away from victory before tapes up on Heat 36. Nikolai Krasnikov and Dmitry Komitsevich was the chosen pairing to bring the title home, and despite a strong getaway from Antonin Klusovski, they were never troubled. Noise on the terraces built up during the race, while the riders' celebrations were fairly subdued, the result of converting the tag of favourites in front of their home crowd. The matter of the silver medal rested on 2 remaining races for Sweden and Austria, with the Czech Republic now out of contention for a podium place. Mikko Jetsonen was on the pace for Finland around the first 2 bends of Heat 37, but from there it was a comfortable success for Sweden. Austria would need to convert their Heat 38 against Switzerland to send the 2 silver medal contenders into their Heat 41 confrontation tied. With only 2 points from 2 races and after his earlier crash, Harold Simon was rested from Austria's final 3 rides. But the silver medal favourites did as required with their duo of Franz Zorn and Manfred Siefter. Switzerland finally moved on to a double-figure tally with 10 points from 11 rides and a remaining race against Germany, their last chance to register a defeat of an opponent. Heat 39 on paper was a non-contest. The Czech Republic already resigned to 4th and Germany almost guaranteed 5th with a race against Switzerland still to come. But races involving the Czechs provided some of the best entertainment of the day, and their race with the Germans was no different. Günther Bauer and Stefan Pletschnacker, both in point-scoring positions on lap 1, were eventually overhauled. Pletschaka fell to the back at the end of the opening lap, but Günther Bauer seemed set for a second victory of the day until a mechanical failure with 2 turns remaining reversed an early race 4-2 for Germany into a last lap 5-1 to the Czech Republic. Stefan Pletschaka put up some resistance in the closing stages, but he was kept at bay as the Klatovsky brothers ended their day on a high. Russia's victory lap of honour was Heat 20. Dmitry Koltakov's maximum run on the line as he took an 8th ride of the weekend. But it was a predictably faultless display from the home duo, as Russia registered a final total of 57 and just 3 dropped points from 12 rides. Finland finished on 21, 2 points short of Germany, with Bauer and Niedermayer yet to take to the track for their final outing. Heat 41 was perfectly set up to decide the silver medal. A heat advantage for either side would give them second place overall. After their day one 4-2, Austria were the favourites, and it was their representatives Franz Zorn and Manfred Siefter who made the starts. Siefter, though, lost control on the exit of turn 2, and the honours were shared on the opening lap. That left lead Swede Ove Ledstrom with the work to do, as he needed to find a way through to first to reduce the pressure on Niklas Svensson at the back and find a heat advantage in his last race of the weekend. Zorn made the mistake of attempting to build up speed. Wide on lap 2, Ledstrom carved away straight past, and only on lap 4 did the Austrian get back into the race. A grandstand finish between the 2 best European riders of 2016 so far. Zorn missing out in a photo finish as Sweden took a 4-2 and a 2-point advantage in second overall. Günther Bauer came in for Germany to put the finishing touches to the meeting and onboard Nikolai Krasnikov's machine following his Heat 39 mechanical retirement. It was the slowest race win of the day, but that hardly mattered. Switzerland's unenviable record continued as they failed to beat an opponent all weekend. Hardly an inspiring weekend for Germany either, as they replicated their 2015 finish with 5th. Three trailing teams watched an intense battle for the podium positions behind runaway winners Russia.
It was yesterday also hard for the guys, and we lost some points. Today it was very hard for us. We know we was the point same with Sweden, and we lost it in the last heat. So
very happy about our results. Uwe took us to this silver position, and I'm also glad for the points from me and Daniel.
Уступили, потеряли 3 очка, но сегодня мы привезли комплект.
The team and I are really glad to finish first again. Yesterday we dropped some points, but today we got them back to become champions. I would like to thank all of the fans here. It was a really great race today.
Всем болельщикам спасибо огромное, кто поддерживал, пришли поддержать нас.
A 34th gold medal in 38 championships as Russia continue their unbeaten run that now stretches back 14 competitions.